If at any point during this my webcam glitches, I apologize. Let me know in the comments. It has been on the fritz when I've tried to record, and I think I finally got it. Now, this is going to be a super condensed version of day 3 because I am very much behind. The Sarah Boone video took me a lot of time. A lot of my free time was in that, and I know I have things coming up in the next few days. So what I might have to transition to is more of listening to it and then talking about my thoughts from memory, just so I can multitask and not get super behind in the case. Just putting it out there. I am invested. I want to know what happens and I want to talk about it. I'm just not sure how I'm going to be able to share it effectively yet. But let's begin. Day 3. First up is Jeffrey Lacasse. He dated Wendy Adelson. They broke up shortly before the murder. The divorce was discussed often, relocation and custody spoken about a lot. He said that he actually adopted the Adelson family narrative along with many of their mutual friends. They basically believed the stories they were saying about Dan. Wendy said she hated Tallahassee. He says on their second date, Wendy was crying because she couldn't move, and it ended the date that day. He was aware Dan didn't want Donna alone with the kids. He said it was a family without boundaries, but there was an objection and it got sustained. Donna was involved deeply in the divorce, and he had met Donna multiple times. Now, that is very interesting because this is the guy that they were also, Wendy was trying to tell the police that it was like secretive and telling her one brother that the family didn't know, but he knew Donna. He knew all of them. He met Charlie once. Katie was met as well. And when he met Katie, she mentioned her ex being in trouble previously with the police. While in a hot tub, Charlie made statements against Danny, which is a weird location for that piece of information to come out. There is an approach with an objection, but it got overruled. Charlie said he knew people on both sides of the tracks bragging about knowing criminals. Wendy wanted her oldest son tested to see if he was gifted. Lots of objections to the next part. There's a lot of objections coming from the defense that just aren't valid. A lot of them coming from the ex-judge. She is, in my opinion, absolutely terrible and getting worse, and things aren't going her way, and she isn't handling that well. The state keeps trying to get out he told Wendy that her kids were too young to retain memories long term. And there are so many objections about this, leading to a sidebar. The jury is sent out. The witness is asked to leave. The defense is claiming this portion wasn't in the deposition or discovery, so the state has to look for it, and they go on a break. State couldn't find it, so they do say there's a discovery violation. The state is just going to move on. This is the 4th trial in this, but the defense hasn't seen this testimony before, and the jury will disregard it. But basically, what the jury didn't get to hear or doesn't get to consider is that Wendy wanted to know if her kids would remember things right around the time that Dan was murdered. The witness is back. There were plans to travel with Wendy around the time of the murder, and she canceled them for reasons that simply didn't make sense. Complaining about Danny, worried about a flight delay, and she needed to be there to pick up the kids, but they definitely would have been back in time. That evening, Wendy told him to come over, saying she had a stomach problem, but Wendy told him not to get medicine. He came, and Wendy was a nervous wreck. He saw Wendy's TV was broken. It appeared to be struck by an object. He didn't think the kids did it because it would take someone about 5 to 6 feet tall to hit it there. Remember, her kids are little. Wendy didn't show for a date night, so he went to go check on her. This is a different day. She was intoxicated, and he says not just on alcohol. They show him a text message where Wendy claims she didn't tell mom and dad about him, and he said that's impossible. He met him. Also, Donna wasn't thrilled because he wasn't Jewish. And at this point, I left a note. This feels like they wanted him to be the fall guy, And as soon as it didn't work out, they tried to move on. He confronted Wendy for stringing him along and possibly dating other men. He saw her again the Sunday before the murder. Talk of relocation came up, and Wendy wasn't over it, and that it was denied. Wendy said she wouldn't be able to relocate unless something happened to Danny. He's fed up with this and said you need to deal with the fact you are linked to Dan Markel for life. Wendy asked to tell him something in confidence. He said sure. Charlie looked into hiring a hitman to kill Dan, and it would cost about $15,000. This was not about Charlie's joke about hiring a hitman. He heard that. That was separate. This is just he looked into doing it really. He saw Wendy the Monday before the murder, and Wendy barely smoked. Wendy asked him details about what his plans are for Friday, the date of the murder. So Wendy wanted to know his plans, but she did this when she also didn't want to be with him. She wanted to know his route and timing on the day that Dan was killed, like what he was planning to do. He would have been near Danny's home at the time of the murder and near the path the killers fled town in. Wendy sent an email after the yoga date, which trying to string him out for another week. But Wendy also wanted no contact during this time. Wendy was removing child's art off the wall shortly before the murder. I'm assuming that is like an insinuation that, because she never removed it before, the insinuation is she's removing it because she knows she's going to be moving. Because remember, she moved within 48 hours. Wendy called this witness about a celebratory dinner she had with Charlie and said Charlie said something during it and she threw up. The witness knew he was a suspect, but he was in Tennessee and because he changed his plans last minute and left the day before. He could prove he was not in town because he got videotaped at a Kmart because he had a flat tire. When he learned on the first trip the killers made to the city, he also left town. So Wendy is talking to this guy, and when he is traveling, it's twice there was the planned hit. And the first trip, the killers used a vehicle that could have easily been mistaken for his. Pretty big. Process up. Donna was fully aware of the grandmother motion. Wendy left the impression the whole family was angry about it. Other than Charlie in the hot tub, everything was from Wendy. He found Wendy to be a deeply deceitful person. He tried to say that what she said about her family, though, was proven in evidence, but that got striked. He only had small talk with Donna. The TV was cracked in the middle of the screen, and it was weird because there was a perfectly good TV in another room, but Wendy wanted to make sure they watched on the broken TV that had a fist-sized impact. Wendy's statement was her brother looked into hiring a hitman. They're making him redo that. And then at this point, there's like laughter in the courtroom because they can't find the next witness, so they take a break. Next up is June Umchinda. She was Charlie's ex-girlfriend. They met after the murder. She saw Donna 5 or 6 times. She was involved with Donna was involved with the grandchildren and were very close to Charlie. Donna played a motherly role from what she saw. She met Wendy. Her and Charlie basically lived together. She had no idea about the murder, but Charlie mentioned his brother was shot. She said Charlie and his family didn't seem interested in who killed Danny. After the Donna Adelson bump, the relationship changed. She found out about it later on as Charlie didn't mention it, but the change was Charlie wasn't sleeping and he was stressed, he was depressed. There was a cut in the feed, couldn't seem to find it, but didn't seem we lost much. She learned the hitman were paid with stapled money, and Charlie she knew had stapled money. She noticed Charlie was talking a lot to Katie, his ex. Charlie was paranoid. Charlie believed his phone was tapped. When Katie got arrested, Charlie got worse. Charlie was mad. Charlie used WhatsApp when he was visiting Asia, kept using it when he got home. Charlie started keeping a change of clothes near his bed and had a gun in his nightstand. Wendy and Charlie got into a fight about this case, and at one point, Wendy and Charlie weren't speaking. Donna seemed to be a mess. Donna was seen crying, and Donna was taking painkillers, according to Charlie. Donna told her that her life was crumbling down and her family's life. Everything felt like Dan was haunting her from the grave. Charlie joked that he only paid for one of Katie's breasts. I'm guessing that was him joking that someone else paid the other half, which would maybe be Donna. The defense is up. She was told her first interview with law enforcement wasn't recorded, but it was. She said Charlie was good at lying. Charlie had a lot of cash. She saw Charlie had stapled money in a safe. She was just speculating. The Adelsons weren't curious about Danny's death. She says in Katie's trial, the witness said Donna didn't say the exact words that Danny was haunting them. So she has testified before and said something slightly different. But it also kind of sounds like she didn't say something slightly different. She got like one word different, and it's like making a mountain out of not even a molehill out of nothing. But again, this is the ex-judge defense lawyer, which is to me just coming across as unlikable and slimy, and I don't think is going to help Donna any moment she opens her mouth because it sounds terrible. Ryan Fitzpatrick is up next. He was friends with Charlie. Charlie was close with Donna and Wendy, and Donna didn't like Dan. He knows Charlie keeps stapled money in stacks of 100, with stacks of hundreds, and he had been paid that way before. Charlie talked about the bump with his mom. He became agitated, nervous, guilty. Charlie claimed you could get away with anything if you kept your mouth shut, which none of them did, really. Charlie became needy when the arrest started. As a cross, his friendship with Charlie ended ugly. They don't explain how. He knew about Charlie's money and how Charlie kept it. He couldn't get a statement that he'd ever heard directly from Donna saying she didn't like Dan. And then at this point, both the state and the defense just start arguing in front of the jury, which is a wild moment. The jury gets sent out. Apparently, there's a PowerPoint slide the defense wanted to use, and there's a text between Charlie and his dad about having money, like lots of cash, and the defense says hearsay, and the judge is holding back their ruling. We had the break now. We get back, and the PowerPoint has been slightly changed, and the state says the defense has new objections to the PowerPoint, that they've had this PowerPoint since May. The defense said it was an error. They didn't raise it before. The defense took so long looking for things to object to that they were told to do it during the testimony of the next witness. So to reword this, there's a PowerPoint that's had slight changes, but essentially the defense has had this since May, and now they have a problem with it. And they're trying to find issues with it. They don't even have like a direct issue. They're looking for issues. And they take so long, the judge just tells them to keep looking while they continue on. Mary Hull is up. She was a financial investigator, and they lay the groundwork for things like the institution's money, the boob job, the family accounts, iClouds were reviewed. They're showing the vehicles purchased by the hitmen. Both bought cars. Catherine had a car Charlie helped her get. Charlie would pay for it. Charlie paid for repairs. She had a Lexus that was from Harvey, but there's no showing of any money actually exchanging hands. Like there's no like deposits or anything coinciding in either direction. No evidence of payment happened. It's just claimed when they transferred ownership. Charlie is paying for trips for Catherine, in multiple cases of Charlie giving her money. Catherine needed proof of employment to get things like housing assistance, and Donna signed all the checks for Catherine from the Institute. First check was after the murder. She got 2 checks a month for almost 2 years. Multiple instances of sequential checks, so they were all written, you can assume, right after each other. No sign that she got less pay for time off after the boob job. No reduction in pay when she was out of the country. The Institute actually originally only turned over their QuickBooks records when subpoenaed, and they were not complete because they didn't even include all of the payments to Catherine, because some kept coming after the date on the QuickBooks where they showed them. She got no more checks deposited after the hitmen were arrested. Due to the check numberings, it could be that actually all the checks stopped being written after the bump. The vast majority of her income came from the Adelsons and Adelson's family friends. The biggest bump for her income the entire time was after the murder. Next, they talk about Wendy buying a home for $371,000. Wendy could afford it. The family could easily pay the $1 million bribe. They could easily pay the hitman. They could easily have afforded to pay for Catherine's things, and that's just using the money in their bank accounts, but we know they have cash. The Adelsons preferred to be paid in cash. Old messages about how they stored their cashes in piles in the safe. It appeared Donna had control of the family's safe because she was talking about moving money between the piles. Defense is up. Donna and her husband only had 2 credit cards reviewed. The car Catherine bought could have been a cash transaction, and they don't know what discount was offered at the Adelson Institute for using cash. Redirect. The cash discounts were the Adelson Institute, not for Charlie's traveling practice, because the defense kind of made it word like maybe it was like a traveling practice thing. No, it was an Adelson thing. We have a break. We're actually making good progress in my notes, I must say. Clareza Libredo is up. She worked at the Adelson Institute for 40 years. She was Harvey's dental assistant, so Donna's husband. Donna was the office manager who kept the books. Charlie was a dentist. She named other employees. Catherine was a patient. Employees would get early pay if the Adelsons went on vacation, but never 4, 5, or 6 in a row, kind of like you saw with Catherine. Catherine was not part of the cleaning service. Defense is up. The office had an old school answering machine. She never heard Donna speak badly of Dan. Redirect. If a patient called, it was and they were closed, it would go to voicemail. She was friendly with Donna, but it was basically a work relationship. Now the state calls Catherine, who's serving life for the murder of Dan Markel. When she testified in her own defense in her trial, she said that they were right about everything but her involvement. That wasn't true. She also lied in the Hitman trial, too. Catherine hopes something can happen and make her see her children again. They were trying to ask, like, have you been offered anything? No, but I hope I can see my children, which is hurting her. It'll hurt her testimony with the jury because she has a reason to lie, right? She was offered immunity in the trial with her children's father, but her child's father was facing the death penalty, and then she just continued lying in her trial. She was involved in the death of Dan Markel. She was the middleman, and Charlie is who solicited her. Charlie first brought it up on Halloween. There was a phone call between Harvey and Sigfredo. Basically, there was a confrontation between Sigfredo, which is her baby's father, and Charlie. It seems he was looking for a Dr. Adelson, called the wrong number. The other hitman is Sigfredo's friend. She didn't know that he was even involved. She didn't want to know. She didn't want to know, basically, it seems like. But all 3 needed money Charlie could offer. Charlie painted a bad picture of Dan. Charlie said his parents were going through it due to Dan. She had met Donna before at the dental office during an appointment. Charlie and her talked more about the plan against Dan in person. Charlie would sometimes interrupt those conversations to then pick up his phone and talk to Donna. So mid dealing with Dan talks, paying someone to hurt Dan, Charlie would get up, get on his phone, happen more than 5 times, and talk to his mom, Donna. That sounds pretty bad. Defense tried to object to this being mentioned too, and obviously it didn't work. He would consult his mom and come back. Defense kept objecting. Something happening to Dan would relieve stress when the Adelson family. Charlie gave her a letter, and she wasn't to open it, and he told her that it was closed and put everything in with gloves. She was to just pass it on. He also made clear it was not printed at his home. Sounds like maybe at one of the dental practices he worked at. Charlie asked why things weren't getting done when it didn't happen quick. Applied pressure. Any information about Dan's travel did not come from Catherine. Remember, they had it, so it must have been in the note from Charlie. She wasn't actually doing any work for her payment from the Adelson Institute. Her and Charlie had broken up before the first check. She met Wendy, but never discussed the murder. Charlie got the money the night of the shooting, after Charlie told her there was an accident and to come over. Charlie was found pacing with a gun in his hand, and he gave Garcia the money, gave her a Xanax, and she fell asleep. Now, she actually got her cut later. It was in multiple bags, and the money was stapled. The money was wet and starting to mold. Charlie said his mom physically washed the money. Sidebar. Donna signed all her paychecks. Charlie gave her the checks and told her to space them out. She didn't always do it, which is part of how they got caught here, right? After the bump, Charlie contacted her. She was in contact. She was to contact the number. Charlie never said the murder is to benefit the mother or the sister, but she knew that was the case. And they did speak in code on the wire, and Charlie talked about thinking he was bugged. Defense is up. I hate this defense attorney, by the way. I really do. The witness lied under oath before. She wasn't exclusive with Charlie. Charlie asked her to get it taken care of. She didn't know how much it would pay. The defense lawyer, who used to be a judge, keeps mixing up the testimony. I can't tell if she's trying to mix up the testimony the witness is saying to make her even less credible to the jury, or she really is just this bad at this and can't remember what was said a few minutes ago. But Catherine didn't touch the money when it was first given. It was wet and stapled. She can't say what her cut was because she never counted it. Remember, she just got constant money from the Adelsons, right? She knew that was probably coming too, so she didn't really need to worry about what she got cut from the murder. Charlie gave her the checks himself from the Adelson Institute. She met Donna before. Charlie gave her other benefits after the homicide. Donna wasn't involved in the conversations with Katie. The state's back up. The ex-judge defense lawyer keeps trying to object to basically that Donna had conversations with Charlie, doesn't want that being said. The current judge shot her down, and she's just scowling. And we just go through the chain of, this is a chain of people talking, and we have a break. Now, this one is Christopher Corbett. He's a sergeant at the police department and runs a technical group. He confirms the phone numbers in relation to people, that how the records work. Emails can have different names at the top and in the bottoms. Emails showing strong opinions about Wendy relocating. A lot of everything we've heard before is in these emails, right? Weeks before Charlie first talked about the murder to Katie, Donna was complaining via email to Charlie about Dan. Donna was sending messages upset with Wendy. October 30th, Wendy and Donna were, let's see here. Wendy and Donna were at a disagreement because Wendy purchased a home in Tallahassee. Charlie was angry. Donna and Charlie wanted Wendy to get a protective order against Dan, even though there were no threats or abuse. Complaining Wendy's attorney and judge in the divorce case isn't doing enough. Lots of talk of the divorce proceedings. They were angry Dan went to the kids' soccer game and played with the kids a little. March 4th, Donna asked Charlie to call her when she had a break in the bathroom because she was traveling. And this is kind of weird because she asked Charlie to delete the text message after he reads it, but then she said it's about Dad's birthday gift with no mention about deleting. So was that part of a cover-up? Donna said she had a tough call with Wendy a few days before the killers came for the first time. And at this point, the jury's let out. And you might remember the defense is scouring for something in that PowerPoint they don't like. They're still working on it, and that will continue. So with all that being said, I try to really condense it down and hit just the high points, the main points. As I said, I don't know when the next video will be because I don't know if I'll have time on Thursday. I'll probably release this. Oh my God, it is 5. It is 5 in the morning. So it is Thursday. I'm going to release this later in the morning. You're probably not going to get a video from me on Thursday, which will put me 2 days behind. And then you're definitely not going to get a video from me Friday because I have something I have to do. So that's going to put me 3 days behind. So as I said at the beginning, I might do while I'm doing other things for around the house or wherever I get a chance, or when I'm doing stuff for my other channel and all this stuff, I'll listen to the case, and when I finish a day, do my thoughts on that day. I think we're about to get into technical witnesses. I did look a little bit ahead, and it seems like it's going to be a lot of like email technical, probably phone record type stuff. So that might not be too bad to actually give that information in that way, because it's kind of crystal clear, what they're trying to convey. But hopefully this video wasn't too bad. Again, let me know if the webcam freaked out. It was completely glitching and broken, and I think I got it working. If not, I mean, maybe I'll have to buy another webcam. This one was a clearance one, and it's now causing issues, so maybe it's given out already. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.